Did Paul change his name? Hi, I'm Michael Barber. I'm professor of biblical studies and theology here at the Augustine Institute Graduate School of Theology. We're in St. Louis, Missouri. And over the last weekend, we celebrated the feast day that's called the Conversion of St. Paul. Now, this feast day is often misunderstood as indicating that Paul somehow ceased to be Jewish, but this would be inaccurate. Paul in his letters continues to identify himself as a Jew, as an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. He tells Peter, for example, in Galatians, we are Jews, present tense. This is after his encounter with the Lord. As part of thinking that Paul somehow gave up his Jewish identity, some seem to think that Paul changed his name as well. In the book of Acts, we read that Paul went by the name Saul. Not paying close enough attention to Acts, however, some people imagine that after his encounter with the risen Lord, Paul changed his name. He renounces his Jewish name Saul and then only began to identify himself as Paul. This is wrong. In Acts, Paul's calling takes place in Acts 9. But after Acts 9, he's still called Saul at times. For example, we're told, but Saul, also known as Paul, was filled with the Holy Spirit. This is in Acts chapter 13, where he condemns a magician. So that detail also indicates that, Paul was also known as Saul. That fits because we know that Jews were often in the practice of having two names, a Greco-Roman name and a Jewish name. In Acts, we read about John, whose other name was Mark in Acts 12. In John's gospel, we read about Thomas, who is called Didymus, Jewish name and Greek name. Josephus, the ancient historian, tells us of Cleodemus, who was also Malchus. So we know that Jews would often have two names. Paul didn't change his name. Most likely, when he was out about among non-Jews in non-Jewish places, he simply went by his Greco-Roman name, Paul, which was probably a pretty natural fit because it sounds so much like Saul, a name that people would have been unfamiliar with. We can also notice that in the book of Acts, Paul's first major convert is a civil official named Sergius Paulus. His name is Paul. So perhaps he learned from experience that it helped to have a Gentile name that other people were, also using. So it was effective. Please follow, like, and if you would, please share this video with others. Please let the algorithm know you'd like to see more content like this and make sure you don't miss more videos from me. Thank you so much for watching.